And one thing that you have to understand is that the avoidant woman has a fear of being vulnerable. She doesn't want to feel like you have a hold over her emotions. She also doesn't want to feel like you're taking over her life. Because remember, avoidants love their independence.
Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again, and today we are taking a look at why men are avoiding modern women. Don't forget to drop a comment, make sure you subscribe if you are new here, and let's jump into it.
The hardest marriages for women to leave are often when they are married to husbands who are good guy presenting. And I want to explain this to you because these husbands, they don't yell, right? They don't cheat. They don't disappear. They show up when they're supposed to. They will help if you tell them exactly what to do, when to do it, how to do it every single time, right? They're not necessarily abusive. They're not really chaotic. They're not necessarily scary and having, huge outbursts. They're literally just there. And I think for so many women, this is what makes it so hard to name and so hard to leave.
If a wife wants to leave a good husband, it's usually because she never wanted to marry him in the first place.
Because nothing is technically wrong, right? But nothing is deeply right either. Like, he doesn't proactively make your life easier. He doesn't anticipate your needs. He doesn't carry the mental labor with you. He just sits there waiting for instructions, like a puppy dog waiting for a command, right? And when you're exhausted and you're resentful and you're already drowning, this will make you feel like you're crazy because you have friends whose husbands are way worse than that. You've seen the horror stories. You've seen the TikToks. You know that worse guys out there exist. And your husband isn't necessarily like that. He's a good guy, right?
A wife like that refuses to let her husband make her life easier. She's too busy resenting him.
But good guy presenting isn't the same as being an engaged and invested and a participative partner. Bare minimum behavior wrapped in politeness is still bare minimum. And what makes it so draining is that you can't point to one big thing. It's not like one big thing happened in your marriage. It's literally death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's that you're not considered without asking. You're never relieved from your duties without delegating to him first. You're never being prioritized without being prompted or reminded. And then you start wondering if you're crazy. You start wondering if you're asking for too much, wondering if you're just too hard to please, if you'll never be happy. But you're not asking for too much. You're not too hard to please. You are literally asking for partnership, but you're getting this passive participation and you're being expected to tolerate it because it could always be worse.
She's the type of wife who has to nitpick everything her husband does. She can't actually just be grateful. Women like this make it very clear why men don't want marriage.
Here's the thing. Girls love to complain about how guys don't make the first move anymore, whether that's in person, on Cuffed, on Raya, the gym, whatever. Men are not approaching women anymore the way that they used to once upon a time. But then I see these girls when men do approach them, and if they don't think they're cute, these girls are so mean sometimes. And I'm not saying you have to give your number out to every man that approaches you, but if you want men to be more comfortable going up to women, at least be nice, give them the time of day for like 0.7 seconds before letting the conversation die down, and boost the morale, boost the collective, because it's a systemic issue of men not having the confidence to go up to women anymore.
It's not enough to reject a guy. A lot of these women had to turn it into a needless humiliation ritual. So, even if you were previously okay with getting rejected, now you actually have to deal with it in a much worse way.
But I don't blame them, because when they finally have the courage to, their ego gets stomped, which I'm not above stomping some man egos around here, but it's just not always warranted. You can be nice.
Those very same women think that boosting a man's ego is nothing short of a complete mortal sin or something.
Men saying, I've just decided altogether to avoid women, that it's better to be single, guys. And they're like almost proud, happy about the fact that they're gonna choose and make the choice to avoid the entire gender of women because they have yet to actually resolve the war they have within themselves.
To be fair, modern women do ignore the vast majority of men every single day, so men simply return the favor. I actually don't think there's anything wrong with men returning the favor.
If a man stops chasing, pay close attention.
Yep.
If a man stops chasing or stops texting first, do not get it twisted. That is not a game. That is not a manipulation tactic. That is a man who has finally realized his true value. He was not born distant. He used to be the one carrying the burden of the conversation alone. He replied instantly to people who took days to respond. He was always available, always ready. He bought the lie that if he just gave enough of his time, eventually he would be chosen.
A man can only tolerate so much disrespect before he chooses himself and decides to walk away.
But he learned the hard way that people do not value what they get for free. He realized that being always there didn't make him important. It made him invisible. Even the most patient heart has a limit. He found peace in the silence that he never found in the chase. He stopped trying to force a connection because he realized you cannot beg for attention from people who do not want to give it. So he simply stopped making time for people who treat him like a second choice. They will say he changed, but he just stopped being the only one trying. He withdrew his attention, he closed the door, and he raised his standards. Do not blame him. He didn't ghost you. He outgrew you.
Peace is all a man has in this world. Once he has it, he is not going to give it up for anybody. You know, I see a lot of these guys who are like divorced and out of long-term relationships, and oftentimes you can't make them commit even if you want to because the guys simply value their peace too much.
Why are men not confident enough to walk up to women now? See, shout out to the guys who are confident enough to walk up to women. The masculinity on earth has diminished drastically that guys don't even come up to you anymore. They'll just stare at you from a distance. As a woman who's trying to embody her feminine energy, you're not going to catch me going up to the guy. You're just not. We can just stare at each other. See, shout out to the guys who are confident enough to walk up to women because guys don't do that anymore.
You can't motivate a man into approaching by shaming the guy. All it actually does is prove that the men are actually right and they're just going to continue not to approach you, right? You actually have to be rewarding in some way for men to approach you. But a lot of modern women don't simply want to do that.
If God were to guarantee that your 20th person would be the love of your life, you would be so happy to be rejected by all 19. So why are men not confident enough to walk up to women now? We don't chase. We signal like, you can come up to me now. But all men do is just look at you now. And of course, like if the woman is interested, she's going to keep looking your way too. But it just like stays like that. Nothing ever happens. Because men don't walk up to women anymore. Or they're just tired of being rejected. But it's like if God were to tell you that you're going to go through 20 rejections before you get to your yes, and that's going to be the love of your life, you guys would be so happy to go through all 20 because you were just so closer to the love of your life. Come on, guys. You guys got to do better.
If modern women want a chance of getting a guy these days, they've honestly screwed themselves over because now they have to do the approaching. And the thing is, a lot of guys don't even like being approached. So, you know, good luck with that one. They're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here.
So men don't approach women anymore because they're often referred to as creeps and they're scared of rejection. It's something that I hear a lot of. And I wanted to personally speak to this because I have a lot to say, because I am the biggest supporter of men being men and men pursuing women. Okay, so I'll preface this by saying that. But the problem is, a lot of men pursue women knowing that that woman is not interested in them. And therefore it leads to this negative culture with it.
How can a man possibly know a woman isn't interested in him before he even talks to her? Like, are we supposed to play this intricate guessing game? It's completely ridiculous.
I could speak from my personal experience. I am a very respectful person. For the most part, any person that has ever approached me, tried to pursue me, that I knew I was not interested in, that person did not leave thinking about, oh, I've been rejected, what a terrible experience, they were never felt like a creep, none of that. However, I cannot tell you how many times I had been diplomatic or respectful about the decline, and it has led me to being borderline harassed. Whatever the reason may be at the time that I had rejected these people, I have heard things along the lines of not caring that I was in a relationship or insinuating that my relationship is not going to work out or not serious.
That's because aggressive men don't care what women told them, and when they say leave them alone, the guys simply aren't going to listen.
I have been told, don't worry, I like guys, so don't worry about it. Like it was just clearly a lie. I've been told so many things under the sun. I've had people follow me. I've had people grab me, like while walking, to stop me. I've had a man grab me, right? So this is where you start to have this negative perception about this idea of being approached.
Her experiences don't vouch for the good men who stay away after being told to stay away. There are plenty of men who have heard women say, hey, we don't want to be approached, and they listened.
And so the issue lies in the fact of men being able to decipher when a woman is genuinely interested, especially when that woman is very, very clear with her intentions. When someone says, I'm not interested, I'm not available, no, anything alluding to the fact of no or not interested needs to be taken with thank you, have a nice day. And that's how we create respectful encounters with approaches. And that's all it takes. And I think it's just certain people that overdo it and give a negative kind of perception of it based on the fact that they have no idea how to read social cues or they just don't care to, and that's a huge problem. And that's my 2 cents.
This attitude pretty much says that good men must atone for the sins of guys like Chad, and let's be honest, the sins of those guys are really just not committing to modern women.
Okay, this is another one for my men. You guys are complaining that I don't do enough content for the men. So here we go. Men, if you're dating an avoidant woman, stop pressuring her to open up. It's only going to make her run away from you. Okay, the reason why avoidant women are so hard to be with is because they really struggle with emotional closeness.
That's because she spent too much time going after the wrong men. That is not men's fault in general. Even if you might feel lied or deceived by those men, I think it's pretty obvious that a lot of those guys never wanted a relationship with them in the first place.
And one thing that you have to understand is that the avoidant woman has a fear of being vulnerable. She doesn't want to feel like you have a hold over her emotions. She also doesn't want to feel like you're taking over her life. Because remember, avoidants love their independence. They are hyper independent. And that stems from their childhood because they have always had to fend for themselves. Remember, these are the kind of people that had their feelings and emotions routinely dismissed by their parents or caregivers. So they didn't have somebody to help them process their emotions. So emotional closeness actually feels like a threat to the avoidant woman.
In other words, if she has emotional baggage, you have to accept her for who she is and you have to put up with that.
So when you know these things, you are going to know how to communicate with your avoidant partner. Women are naturally quite driven by their emotions, but when you have a woman who is an avoidant, she is going to suppress her emotions, which means every time you guys have an argument or something and she gets triggered, she will shut down because this is her default. This is how she protects herself. And again, all of this stems from her childhood.
If that's the case, she needs to work through her own problems. That's what's expected of men. I don't see why women can't do the same.
Because when she was a child, she developed these unhealthy coping mechanisms to help her essentially survive. Now, emotional closeness feels like danger to her. Her nervous system and her brain detects that emotional closeness as a threat. So the best way to be with this kind of woman is to not push her. Don't keep pushing her. Don't keep saying, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? Why won't you tell me what's wrong? Leave her to it. Avoidants always need that space and that distance in a relationship, and they will come back to you.
Then that guy is going to get shamed for not caring enough. Men can't actually win in that particular game.
My advice to you is to stop pressuring her to speak up. The one thing that the avoidant woman is scared of is emotions and being vulnerable. So the more you keep asking her, what's wrong? What's wrong? Talk to me. Open up to me. Don't shut me out. Don't shut me out. The more she's going to shut you out. So if you just sit back in your masculine energy and you just let her know that when she is ready and she feels like her nervous system has calmed down, then you would be willing to hear her out. You communicate this very assertively. She is going to respect you. Okay? Be that kind of man. Don't pressure her to open up straight away. Leave some space. Create some distance. She will miss you in that space. She will feel your absence in that space. Okay? Now, if you want more advice like this, you're going to want to hit the follow button because I make more videos like this and I do help the men out occasionally. I mean, I'm here for the girlies, but I do help the men out occasionally. Okay.
That's too much work for someone who refuses to deal with their problems. It's simply not worth it for men.
Most men just want to know they can. They will ask you for your number just to see if you will give it to them. They will DM you just to see if you will reply. They will ask you on a date just to see if you are willing to go with them. They have no true intention of actually pursuing you or doing right by you. They just want to know they can. They just want to know they can have access to you. They just want to know they could talk to you. They just want to know they could sleep with you so you could stroke their bitch-ass, fragile, weak-ass egos.
That's only the case for situationships. That doesn't apply for the majority of men out there.
They need to go run and tell their homeboys, look who I'm talking to. And once you acknowledge that the majority of men don't even actually like women, they just need approval from other men, and they need you to get the approval. They need some beautiful arm candy that carries herself well. You will stop, call the motherfucking wambulance. You'll stop crying over these bitch ass, loser ass men that can't even wipe their ass correctly. Like, it's really not that deep with them, right?
Men don't need women for social status. Their hard work speaks for itself most of the time. Again, this is one of those things, guys, where women seem to think that men care about the same thing as they do. Like, oftentimes, men don't care about your career. We don't care about how many followers you have. If anything, it's actually a bad thing most of the time.
It's more times than not a game. Of course, there are some men that actually love women and actually want to do right by them, but the percentage of that, very small. And that's why if he's not the motherfucking one, don't waste no time and don't waste no tears on him, okay? And the one will show you why he's the motherfucking one. And I promise you, you will be able to notice the difference between the one and the twos and the threes immediately. So unless he's the one, don't give no coochie to these men. Don't give them no time and don't give them no attention, okay? Okay, I love you guys. Bye.
Withholding the bedroom against a good man isn't going to work out the way they think. It's just going to get you left by the guy.
There's one thing that drains a man faster than anything else in a relationship. Yeah. And most women do it every single day without realizing. Yeah. It's not about what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. Mm-hmm. The tone of voice. A lot of women don't realize they've stopped using that soft, warm voice with their man. Yeah. Everything comes out sharp. Complaining about this, nagging about that, bringing up what he didn't do. And when was the last time you said something genuinely positive? Mm-hmm. Not sarcastic, not backhanded, just appreciative.
It's sad how some of these women think that showing appreciation is something that needs to be earned, right? And oftentimes, let's be real, even if the guy does earn appreciation, oftentimes men don't get that appreciation anyway.
Most of the time, it's 90% critical and maybe 10% positive, if that. Yeah. And then we wonder why he seems distant or checked out. Yeah. That constant negativity, it's draining. Mm-hmm. Every man needs a place where he feels safe, respected, and welcomed, not spoken to like he's already failed before he even tries. Because when a man feels valued, he naturally gives more, loves harder, and shows up better, and it brings out the version of him you always wanted. Yeah. Your man craves your softness, your warmth. Mm-hmm. He needs to feel like you actually like him.
A lot of women think that being nice to a good man is somehow a sign of weakness.
Women dismissing men emotions by them being insecure, that is the most psychotic thing anyone can do. To immediately dismiss what somebody is feeling because they're insecure, that's how you shut somebody down. That's actually what narcissists do. Before you go ahead and do that, maybe start investigating the legitimacy of what they're presenting before you call them insecure. If he says, yes, I am, that means he's weak. And if he says, no, I'm not, that means he's controlled. Where's the room for him to express how he feels in relation to how you're acting? Right. You have eliminated the ability for the one thing all women want. I want emotional availability.
At this point, insecure is just a blanket insult that these women use whenever they don't actually get what they want, right? It's just like, we're just going to throw out random shaming language and hope that the men don't actually look into it, because it never makes sense.
Oh, it's just not like a Disney film? Sorry, didn't want to get in the way of your ego trip. Maybe you should wake up and realize that humanity isn't a Disney film. It's very real, and there's a lot of love in what that man has to express to you, but you don't want to hear it because you're calling it security.
It's insane how many women think that life is supposed to be just like the movies. It's actually so strange to me.
Hey baddies, today we're talking about why he probably stopped liking you after you let him crack. This is a hard one, but wipe those tears away because we are going to get into the psychology of a man's brain today, which is actually way more simple than you might think. I've been there, done that. I've let a man crack and then he didn't like me after, and I was like, wait, I gave you everything you wanted. Like, why don't you like me? And that was exactly the problem, because I gave him everything he wanted. In a woman's brain, I feel like it is very easy to think that if you give a man what he wants, which is letting you sleep with him, that he will like you more. That makes sense to us, and that makes sense to him too, but he doesn't actually know what's going on in his brain. So we're going to get into why it seems like he doesn't like you anymore after you let him crack.
It's because that guy never took the woman seriously. That's not how average guys actually think.
So before he cracks, his brain is in chase mode. That means his dopamine, the little happy drug in his head, is bouncing off the walls. Every time you text him, dopamine hit. Every time you give him a little bit of attention, dopamine hit. Him wondering, what is she doing right now? Like, I wonder why she's not in my bed. I wonder why she's not texting me. All of those thoughts are keeping him in the dopamine loop, which is keeping him chasing you, which is keeping him liking you, and keeping him excited. So when you actually let him crack too early on, when he's in the midst of the dopamine loop, his brain goes into one massive dopamine explosion, and right after that, he crashes. Bye-bye dopamine.
That guy isn't in a dopamine loop. He's biding his time until he can have bedroom fun.
His testosterone drops, his prolactin rises, and the reward signal shuts off. So that obsession that he had with you, or that liking that he had with you, literally can disappear because you let him crack too early in the midst of his dopamine loop. It's literally like eating cake before dinner. He ate the cake and then he's not hungry for dinner anymore. Like, you already gave him everything he wanted. It's opening a Christmas present before Christmas. He's not going to be excited on Christmas. So even to him, he might not understand why he stops liking you after this, but it's because the dopamine crash that he has in his head makes him feel like, wait, I don't feel the same as I did before this happened. I must not like her anymore. And it's not that he stopped liking you. His brain just moved on from chase mode to chill mode because he got the thing he wanted. Think about like a dog. They're going to be like, oh, I'm going to do all these tricks for you so you can give me my treat. Oh, you gave me my treat? Okay, I'm not going to do any more tricks. Thank you for my treat. I'm eating it now. So when you let him chase, you're feeding that dopamine loop. And the longer it runs, the more emotionally attached he gets. And the more emotionally attached he gets, the more likely he will stay after you do let him crack. Bottom line, every time I've made a man wait, they're like, I respect you so much for this, and also I like you so much more, and also this feels so much deeper and better. And I'm like, oh god, you're so stupid. But yeah, bottom line, that's true. It will feel way better too, ladies, after he doesn't leave you. I hope the psychology can put things into perspective for you, because it's not that he stopped liking you, it's literally that he ran out of dopamine. It's very counterintuitive to play the game this way, but it's so much more rewarding in the end, I promise you. Remember, your body is a temple. You need to value yourself. I love you guys. Stay sexy, amazing, and stay smart.
These women will go to great lengths to blame us for just sleeping with the wrong guy. How crazy is that? If you would like to get early access to videos, weekly lectures, and case study breakdowns of human behavior, make sure you check out the members area link below in the video description. Otherwise, make sure to click on one of these videos on screen now if you enjoyed. Make sure you take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.